Got it. Yes, make sure I get your, I hear some people sending me their notes, good, or their work, make sure you do. Equations of lines. So we're going to talk about some of the things we talked about before. So a lot of it's crossovers. I like to do it all to like somewhat together. So some of this is a crossover, some of this is new. So some of this will be new to you and some of this will not be new to you. Either saw it with me or you haven't done it before. So we're going to talk about how to graph a line given y equals mx plus b. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to talk about it or review it, whatever way you want to say it. So first problem. Graph y equals 2/3 x plus 1. So first we're going to draw our grid, our XY plane, or coordinate grid, whatever way you call it. I call it coordinate grid more than anything else. And we're going to put some tick marks. Oh, I got to find you graph paper. I totally forgot. Now that I just said that, I'm writing myself a note. Graph paper for Plex. Okay. Now when we have y equals mx plus b, we graph with our y-intercept first. So y-intercept, we graph that first. And then from there, from the y-intercept, we graph the slope. Okay, so what do I mean by that? That means y-intercept is 1. So at 1 on the y-axis, I start with my point. That's my point 1. That's where I start graphing. It's always where you start is always the y-intercept. Now the slope is 2/3. So when I see 2/3, in my mind, I see, okay, rise over run. So I'm going to go up 2. And then my run, since it's positive slope, I'm going to turn the right and go to the right 3. So I'm going to sort of draw it so you can see it. I'm going to go up 2, not put anything, and then go to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put a dot right there. So I went up 2. We don't write that. We just go like that. We just count. We go up 2 over 3. Now I'm going to do the opposite going down ways so that I can do another, so that I can do another point. So I'm going to go down to opposite over 1, 2, 3 and put a point there. And again, like I said, we don't really graph that, just doing that so you can see it. And then I could do it again, down 2 over 3. And then you can graph it and put together. Just remember, okay, so this is not the rest line, but there you go. Not bad. Okay, so just remember that if it's a positive slope, you go right. And if it's a negative slope, you go left. So rise, you always go up, whatever the numerator is, you go up. If it's a positive slope, you turn to the right. If it's a negative slope, you turn to the left. And that's how you graph with y equals mx plus b. Let me do another problem for you too. Two. Y equals negative 1/3 x minus 2. Again, I'm going to draw a coordinate grid, XY plane. And I'm going to do some tick marks. Now, because we're doing this by hand, no one's expecting it to be perfect. Of course, you'll have it on their computer and they will give you a nice little graph. You can draw it. But as you're doing notes with me, I know it's hard to draw it perfectly because you're doing it all by hand. So, okay, so now what's my y-intercept? My y-intercept is not 2, it is -2. So at -2, I put my point. Now the slope is -1 over 3. So -1 over 3. That still means I'm going to go up 1, but now because it's negative, I'm going to go to the left 3. So I'm going to draw a little thingy so you can see what I'm doing. So I go up 1 and then I go left 3. 1, 2, 3. Of course, we don't go all down. We just count. Go up 1 over 3 and then go up 1 over 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 1 over 3, 1 over 3, and then go down 1 over 3. That doesn't look very straight. That's because I did it by hand. Okay, and then we're going to graph it. Just a little bit off, but, and that would be my line in y-intercept form. Hey, any questions on that? You always start with the y-intercept and then you do your slope from there. We're going to do a little more, but I'm going to give you something different. Any questions? I'm going to do one more. Well, one more, right? A little different. So let's say I don't give you y equals mx plus b. I give you this. 3x plus y is equal to -2. This is called standard form. Of a linear equation. How we write it as ax plus by is equal to c. That's called standard form. That's when your x and y are on the left of your equal sign and your constant is on the right. That's why c is by itself. It's called your constant. How do you graph it when it's in standard form? Well, you can always go back to our way we did last section and we could use the x and y intercepts to graph. But since we are practicing graphing from y equals mx plus b, we're going to do it that way. So what you have to do is you have to solve for y to get y equals mx plus b. Then you can graph it the way we just did. So you're going to take it, whatever the equation is, you're going to solve for y, get y by itself, and then we'll have it in the form we need to graph. Before we do anything, I'm going to draw my XY plane. Give you guys a second to catch up. I'm going to write the equation again so that we can solve for y. And now to get for y for this equation is not so bad. All I have to do is subtract 3x. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. But notice how I don't write that right underneath the -2. See how I sort of put it on the side? Because I'm going to remind myself that they are not like terms and I cannot add them or put them together at all. So I'm going to, that becomes 0. Y is equal to, I always like my x first. You don't have to put it first, but it's probably a good suggestion to put the slope part first. You could have written, and that would be an acceptable answer too. But I like to keep the x first. So, but that's still fine if you did it that way. Now, if you look, I have it in the right form. I have it in y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. So now I can graph it. Well, I'm going to graph first my y-intercept, which happens to be -2 again. So -2. Now, this is the first time we've done something like this. My slope is -3, which remember, every whole number has an over 1 with it. So this is my, I'm going to go up 3. And then because it's negative, I'm going to turn left 1. I'm going to go up 3 and I'm going to turn left 1. I don't know why I got that there. I don't know, I had an extra one, I don't know why. Okay, so then I'm gonna do my little squiggly line so you can see it. So I'm gonna go up 3, whoops. 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna turn left 1 because it's negative, and I'm gonna put a point. I'm gonna erase this because it's not really there, and then we're gonna go again, up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. And then I'm gonna go down from the last point, go down, 1, 2, 3, over 1. And now I can draw my line, not that way. I erased it by a mistake, hold on. And I have my point. Now, it's a line. If you don't put the arrows on the line, it's not a line. If you just draw, and this is your graph, you are 100% wrong because that's a segment. That is not a line. So make sure that you have your line, arrows on your line. Okay, I'm gonna do another one just like that. I'm gonna sit there for a minute so you guys have enough time to wrap it. Actually, I want to show you one that is a little tricky to graph because you might come upon this in a problem. Any questions while I'm waiting? Everybody good? Looks like everybody's good. Good. Okay, I'm going to turn a page or add a page. I am on number 4, I believe. 4. Okay, so this one is a little tricky to graph. That's why I picked it. So it's in standard form. We want to graph with y equals mx plus b. So first I'm going to draw my plane, my xy plane, or my coordinate grid, whatever you want to call it. Answer the bell today is something his teammates will certainly remember. It was big time for Fleet coming out of high school. Baseball America said he was the top 80 high school prospect in the country. Big prospect for that draft. All right, so now we can't graph anything until we get it into the right form of y equals mx plus b. So we are going to solve for y. So the first thing I need to do is to move my x. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. But again, notice how I don't put it directly under the 1 to remind myself not to make the mistake and add them together because I can't. Then I'm going to bring down 4y is equal to 3x plus 1. And now I just have to solve for y. So I need to get rid of the 4 by dividing. So I divide every single thing by 4. And then I can simplify. So y is equal to 2. Now, I don't leave it as 3x over 4 because really it's 3/4 x. That's my slope. My slope is 3/4 plus 1/4. And this is why this is tricky. This is my y-intercept. So I'm going to show you how to graph it when it's not like a perfect integer, when you have a y-intercept that's like a fraction. All right, so we start with the y-intercept, which is 1/4. So you're going to, like, as best you can, put a dot at 1/4. And then the slope is 3/4. So 3/4 means we're going to go up 3. It's positive slope, so I'm going to go to the right 4. Now I'm going to put my little squiggly line. So just be careful with the up 3 means. It just means you're going to the 1/4, 1, to the next 1/4, 2, to the next 1/4, 3, and then you're going, whoops, I don't know why I did that because I held it too long. Hold on. I forgot if I hold it too long, it makes the thing. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, that's where I'm going to go. And then I'm going to go over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me erase that out. You see it because I can't see where I'm going to put my point with it in my way. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be right about here, which is going to be like 1/4 I got too low. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. It's going to be right about at the quarter. Boy. Okay, now let's try. My eyes are deceiving me. Okay, right about the quarter, and it's over 4, so 3 over 4. And we're going to do it again. It's much easier on paper, believe me. Okay, so, and when you have a nice grid. So we're gonna go up 3, 1, 2, 3, which would be about here, and then over 4, but I don't have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Over here, and then we're gonna go down 3 from the bottom point. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're gonna put together. Now, is it gonna be exact? Of course, it's not gonna be exact. We're doing it by hand. But that's what you do when you have a y-intercept that's not an integer. They are hard to graph, but all you have to do is remember that when you go up 3, you're going up 3 at the quarters or a half, whatever the fraction is. It's the same idea. You're still going up so many and over so many, but you're just starting in a non-integer y-intercept. Makes it a little tiny bit harder. Questions, anything? I'm done that graphing part. I want to add writing equation lines, which is next. Writing equations of lines. Okay, right now we're talking about writing it in slope intercept form. That will change in a little bit, but right now we're talking about in slope intercept form. That means y equals mx plus b form. So there's different scenarios. There's 3 scenarios I can think at the top of my head. They can give you the slope and the intercept, and you write the equation. That's the first one we're going to do. They can give you the slope and a point, and we write the equation. That's the second one we're going to do. Or they can give you 2 points on a line, and then you write the equation. And that's the third one we're going to look at. So first one is it. So all of these is write the equation of the line given. And then we're going to get all different kind of givens. So first given is slope is -2/3. And it goes through the point. Zero, -5. We're not graphing it. We're just going to write the equation. Now, when you have a point that says 0 something, that is your y-intercept. That is your y-intercept. And then this is my slope, right? Slope. So all I have to do is write the equation into the right form. So the form is y equals mx plus b. I know my slope. Y equals -2/3. X stays x. And I know my y-intercept is 0, -5, which means it's -5. So my equation of that line is y equals -2/3 x minus 5. They are the most basic ones. So if I gave you the slope and I give you the y-intercept, just remember your y-intercept can also be a point 0 something. All you have to do is plug in your slope and your y-intercept, and you have the equation of your line. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's been bullet, right? You see a rocket in the rocket in the 6 hole and a backup breaking ball that hit Brown Jones and no, that is So what do we do when we're not giving that basic slope and y-intercept? Then we might have to do a little bit more work. So this is the second kind. Write the equation line given. It has a slope of 2 and passes through the point -3, 1. It looks like number 1, but the difference is the point they gave us, -3, 1, is not the y-intercept. So what is the y-intercept? Well, that is the question. We need to find, whoops, sorry. The y-intercept first. We can't write the line without the y-intercept. We know the slope, we need the y-intercept. So the information given to you, there's a slope and there's a point, is plenty to find the y-intercept. Okay, so y? Well, here's y. We know the equation is y equals mx plus b. Well, guess what? We have every single thing but b. I have a y. Here's my y, 1. I have an x, -3. I have my slope, m. I'm going to plug them in. So y is 1, m was 2, and I have an x of -3 plus b. I have every single thing I need to find b, which is my y-intercept. And that's what we need to do. We need to find the y-intercept. So I'm going to simplify and solve for b. So 1 is equal to -6 plus b. If I add 6 to the other side of my equation, I will get b by itself. So b is equal to 7. That's what I needed. I need to find y, the y-intercept. Now we're done. All we got to do is write the equation. So we find the y-intercept. Now write the equation. That's second. First, find the y-intercept, then write the equation. Well, it's just like the first one we did. I know the slope. I know b, my y-intercept. So y is equal to, my slope was 2, and my y-intercept is 7, +7. And I have the equation of my line that has a slope of 2 that goes through the point. I can't read it. -3, 1. There it is. Where I can't read it. And you can always check it by doing this. So y is equal to 2 times, if I put -3 in, will I get 1 out? Remember, the point they told us was -3, 1. So it has to be equal. So y is equal to -6 plus 7. Y is equal to 1. So I know that if I put -3 in, I get 1 out. And that's the point that my line had to go through. So it's perfect. Michaela, just hang on after class. I just read your chat. Just hang on after class and we'll check it together. All right, I want to do another one like that, but I'm going to change the page and then I'll take questions. Okay, so let me add a page. And I forgot what number I'm on. Oh yeah, I started over again, didn't I? 1, 2, yeah, 1, 3. Okay. Something just like it. Okay, so write the equation line that has a slope of 3/4 that passes through the point 8, -2. It's the same idea. I have everything. I don't have B. So we are going to find the y-intercept. How do I do that? Because I have everything I need. I have my x, I have my y, I have my slope of m. So we're going to put it in. So y equals, I really highly suggest you always write this equation and then plug in. And I will tell you, when you do these on your own and you get lost, stop for a second and write this equation down. It'll lead you in the right path. Because I guarantee what you're looking for is something in this equation. And once you write it down, you're sort of kind of, oh yeah, I can plug this in, I can get it. So if you get stuck on these, you get lost in the process somewhere practicing these, write this equation down and let it tell you what to do next. All right, so I'm going to plug in what I know. What do I know? Y is -2 right here. M was 3/4. X was 8. And then I don't know what B is because we're going to solve for it. Now 8 is really 8/1, which I could use to help me multiply this. -2 equals. I don't know if you guys like cross simplifying. I'm a big fan of cross simplifying. So I see 4 and 8. I can divide 4 by 4 and 8 by 2. And I know my answer is 6 plus B. If you don't like cross simplifying, hopefully you worked on it in Dev 1 or you've done it before. If you don't like cross simplifying, that's fine. Just multiply on cross across the top and across the bottom. And then you can simplify, you'll get 6. And then I just subtract 6 on both sides. And I know that my B is equal to -8. Now we write the equation of our line. So y is equal to, the slope was 3/4. And my B was -8. And that would be my equation of the line. Notice that once you find your y-intercept and you have your slope, you just plug in y and x stays. You just plug in the slope and the y-intercept and your equation's done. Hey, any equation on that particular one where I give you the slope and a point? Because we're going to go to the next one. Okay, now this one, let me put a little line. All right, this is same thing, except now I'll be given 2 points. So this is 4. Hey, write the equation line given, oh, that passes through, sorry, not given, that passes through the points 5, 4, and -2, -7. So we're not giving anything. We don't know B, we don't know M, and somehow we have to write the equation. Last time we met, we talked about how to find the slope from a line, right? I'll remind you. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So we're going to do that first. We're going to find slope. So find slope first. So when you're given 2 points on a line, you're going to find the slope first. So here's my first X. This is my first Y. This is my second X. This is my second Y. So following the formula, I'm going to do it right over here, by the way. So it's on the other side. I actually want to go back to black. Okay. So Y2 is -7. minus y1 of 4 over x2 is -2 minus x1 of 5. Okay, I get -7 minus 4, -11 over -2 minus 5 is -7, but that will simplify to 11 over 7. So there's my slope. I found my slope. M is 11 over 7. Now we're back to what we just did. We have 2 points and a slope. I only need 1 point. All I need is a point and a slope. I can find B, because now we have to find B. Find y-intercept second. So I'm going to write the equation on my line, just to remind me what to do. I know my slope is 11 over 7. Now I have 2 points. I have 5, 4 and -2, -2, -7. So what do? You pick 1 point. Does it matter which one you pick? Absolutely not. You can pick one. I can pick a different one. We'll get the same equation at the end. So my suggestion is pick the one you like best. I like 5, 4 because it's not negative, but there's nothing wrong with picking a -2, -7. So here's my X. Here's my Y. I already wrote into my slope. So my X is 5. My Y is 4, and I'm solving for B. Here we go. So 4 is equal to, now 5 is over 1. There's no cross simplifying I can do. So it's 55 over 7 plus B. Yes, sometimes you'll get some crazy fractions. Now I'm going to subtract 55 over 7 to the other side. That will cancel. Now, how do I simplify 4 minus 55 over 7? Well, it is a fraction that's over 1, so I have to get common denominators. So my common denominator would be 7. So I multiply this by 7, multiply this by 7, I get 28. This is already 7, so I'm just going to leave it there. And I'm going to subtract them. So what is 55 minus 28? Let's see, that's a 4, that's a 15, that's a 7, that's a 2. But 55 is bigger and 55 is negative, -27 over 7. That is my B. Pretty ugly. B equals -27 over 7. But like you saw before, we can have a y-intercept that is a fraction. And you just leave it like that. Do not make it a mixed number. You leave it as an improper fraction. Now I can write my equation. My equation is y is equal to, my slope was -11, whoa, not negative, positive, sorry, 11 over 7 x, and my y-intercept is negative or minus 27 over 7.
You
Any
can
questions?
simplify like the slope though, right? Just not the y-intercept.
You can, yes. And the only thing, simplify how? Because I think I just made it positive, right? It was negative over negative. It's positive. Wait, where is it?
No, I don't mean like for this specific problem. I'm just
got
saying
it.
like in general though, like.
Okay, in general,
Okay.
if it's a fraction and it can be simplified, it doesn't matter where it is, you simplify it. So let's say, just as a general kind of idea, let's say I got y equals -3/6x plus 8/10. I can't leave it like that. I got to simplify both of them. So what I would do is I would simplify 3/6 and it's negative and make it 1/2. And then I would simplify 8/10 by dividing each of them by 2, and I would get 4/5. So you want, just like any other fraction, you want to be completely simplified. It's a good question. I like it. Any other questions? I'm gonna do another one. It's not as complicated. That's probably the most complicated kind when you get a fraction. But it's just a fraction. That's all. And I want to tell you guys, try not to freak out and grab a calculator and do your fraction. Like, practice your fractions. The more you practice them, they get so easy the more you practice them. They really are. And you won't panic every time you see a fraction. Don't panic with a fraction. Practice, practice, practice. So when you do these and you get a fraction, don't grab the calculator. Try it on your own first. Then you can check it, see if you got it right. Same idea. I'm gonna give you 2 points. So write the equation on a line that passes through the points -2, -3, and 2, 5. Okay, first thing, I need slope. So we're going to find our slope. Let me write it down here. I'll put it under here. Y. Oh, sorry. I'm at M. I was going to write Y because I'm supposed to be. Okay, M equals Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So let me mark my picture. I mean, my points up top. This is my first X. This is my first Y. This is my second X. This is my second Y. And I'm just going to plug them in and simplify, and we will have our slope. So Y2 is 5 minus Y1 is -3. Remember, you can't just take the minus and make it 5 minus 3. It's 5 minus -3 over X2, 2 minus -2. So we know minus and negative is a positive, so it's really 5 plus 3 over 2 plus 2, which is 8 over 4, which is 2. So nice one. So my slope is just 2. Now I need the y-intercept. This is always where people who get stuck right here. They do everything and then they get here and go, I don't know what to do. I forget. So when you forget, you're going to put, okay, y equals mx plus b, and ask yourself, what do I have? Well, I know the slope is 2 and I have these 2 beautiful points up top. So I have an x and a y. So pick one. I'm going to pick 2, 5 because it's positive. Again, doesn't matter if you pick the other one, we get the same answer. So here's my x and here's my y. So 5 is equal to 2, my slope, times my x of 2 plus b. So 5 is equal to 2 times 2 is 4 plus b. If I want to solve for b, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. And I get b is equal to 1. I got my b. I got my slope. I got my b. Now I'm going to write my equation. So y is equal to, my slope is 2, x, my b is 1. Y equals 2x plus 1. And that's my equation. Okay, so you've seen all 3 ways to write an equation in slope-intercept form when, number 1, you're given a slope and an intercept, just plug them in. Second way is if I give you the slope and a point. So then you plug in, when you get a slope and a point, I don't know if you realize, but you're right here. This is your slope and a point. I write y equals ms plus b. I plug in what I know and I solve for b. And then if I give you 2 points, you have to go back and use the slope formula to find the slope first. And then you take one of the points and plug it in and use y equals ms plus b, and then you write your equation. I'm sure you guys have all done this before, and hopefully just a review, and if not, that's fine too. Questions, 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 questions. Okay. Now, that was slope intercept form, new form. Rate equations of lines in point slope form.
32583.
Some people cover point slope form, some people don't cover point slope form. I know in this class, we have to cover point slope form, so here it is. So you may be seen it, maybe not seen it, I don't know. So here it is. Here's point slope form.
957.
Y minus Y1 is equal to M X minus X1, where X1 and Y1 is the point that you have, and M is slope.
I guess, ma'am, I was calling, I have, serious accent.
Sometimes it's a lot easier to write equation of one this way.
So I need to know exactly.
Okay, so let's start with example, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so find the equation. Actually, let me write the directions first. This is for all of them to write it over and over again. So find the equation of the line in point slope form
Remember, but that's what I was on. and
given.
it's
I'm gonna give you
scheduled
different
until
things like we just did
first of
before.
July. And so that's what I'm trying to find out. You know, I have written down on my calendar.
Okay, so it passes through the point -3, 2.
So I can decide whether to keep my.
With slope of 4/5. This is the easiest one you can get. Why? It's called point slope form for a reason, because you can write an equation when you have a point and you have a slope. That's why it's called point slope form. So this is how you write it. So it y minus, that always stays. What's my y1? Well, my y1 is my y here, and this is my x1. I only have 1 point, that's it. My first x, my first y. So I'm gonna plug it in. 2 equals m, which is my 4/5, x minus x1. What's my x1? -3.
The only other name would be Donna, D-O-N-N.
So y
Garrett, which is
minus y1 is equal to m
address.
x minus x1. See how we did that? X1 was -3, y1 was 2. And now I'm going to simplify it. So y minus 2, I don't need the parentheses, is equal to 4/5 parentheses. Now minus the negative is a positive, x plus 3. And that's all I have to do. Whoops, parentheses. That is the final answer for point slope form. And all you need is a point and a slope to write it. That's it. Point slope form. Plug it right in.
Is there an easy way to remember how to stop? Because when I see that, I want to do like 4/5 times X and 4/5 times 3.
Okay, so that would be done. Yeah, how you stop? It's just getting used to it. This is it. But I know you want to distribute that 4/5. So if I said, and that's a great segue, actually. So if I gave you this equation, I said, now write it in point slope form, I would do exactly what you said. I would distribute it, combine like terms, and then get it y equals ms plus b. We're not doing that yet. We're just leaving it like this. So this is exactly it. It's a weird little formula, but It's y minus y1. So once you have that, you leave it. And when you have the slope and parentheses, as long as the parentheses are simplified with the x1, then you're done. It's just, that's it, done. It does look like it's not done, right? We're all taught to distribute, simplify, simplify, simplify. But this is simplified form in point slope form. I guess it's just getting used to it.
So.
I used to not like point slope
I have
form.
on my calendar that if
I
we-
honestly didn't, even a teacher, I would avoid it. 'Cause I just, what, just do y equals what it's supposed to be. But then I realized how nice this is, because if I give you, watch, if I give you this,
You're not telling me that it's
um,
$9 a month.
this is way off what I want to do, but that's all right. Graph, say I give you this, great, this thing, y plus 2 equals 1/2 x minus 3, right? And I give you that. We would distribute it, put it in y equals m plus b form, which won't take that long, but watch, I don't have to do any of that. Why? Because I know I have a point. My point is going to be, to remember, these are all minuses, right? The formula is minus, 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 right? So you have to think backwards, opposite. That means my x was a 3 and my y was a -2 and my slope is 1/2. So I can literally go and, okay, that was really bad.
Well,
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I don't have to do anything else to graph it. I leave it just like that. Why? You'll see. I can do 3, -2. That's my point. And from that point, I can do my slope. Up 1 over 2, sorry. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. And I can just have like this, and my graph is completely done. I didn't have to do anything but realize that I had a point and a slope, and I can graph it. So the benefit of this is that it gives you more information. It gives you a point where you do y equals mx plus b. You know two things, slope and y-intercept. You know the y-intercept point, but this is a way to have to avoid a quick way of doing it when it's not in the right form. If that makes sense.
Why did you do 3 -2 instead of -3 2?
Because the formula is y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. So it's always the opposite signs. If I see a -3 here, the minus is my formula. So my x1 is only 3. And the minus is my formula here, but I have a +2. That means this had to be -2 to make it a +2. So always think of it like opposite signs. That would be the right answer. Does that make sense? It's the way the formula is set up. The formula is set up with minus, which means everything's opposite. Just like, look at the problem we just did. I gave you the point -3, 2, but look how the formula came out to be. It came out to be a +3 and a -2 because the formula makes that signs change because of minus.
Okay, I get it now.
Get it? Okay, let's try another one. I know it's confusing. I get it. All right, 2. So let's say, write the equation of a line, which I already probably wrote.
So now you're telling me that, you know, for the package that you're offering me for the year.
That passes
is
through, and we're going to go through 2 points. How would this be different doing it this way than y equals mx plus b? So my 2 points are going to be
is 10,
6, 9,
20, 11,
and -3, -2.
So you're talking about $11.40 a month prorated over. the-
No, we still have to find
If
the
I
slope.
take that point.
I need slope. So I got to find slope. So we know slope
Now, if you were.
is
if I paid by
y2
the year,
minus
it would work
y1
out to approximately
over x2
$11.40 a month.
minus x1.
What would your
Now let me mark
monthly rate
these.
be if I decided to do
This is
that?
my first x, this is my first y, this is my second x, this is my second y. If you can do these without marking them, that is probably fine with me. You don't have to show me that work. But if you really need to mark them, just like I did. My first x, my first y, my second x, and my second y. And now I'm going to plug them in. Y2 is -2 minus
So
y1 is 9 I got 11 again. How about that? Okay. And I'm going to show you another benefit of this. I already got an idea in my head. I'm going to show you another benefit of this too. Okay, then x2 is -3 minus x1 is 6.
Next July 1st.
So now I can simplify -2, -9, -11 over -6, 3, sorry, -3 minus 6 is -9. Well, I don't need my negatives, so my slope is 11 over 9.
Yes.
Now watch this. Pick a point, doesn't matter what point. No, I'm going to show you both of them. So I'm going to do first, I'm going to do m is 11 over 9, and my point's going to be 6, 9. Here we go. Y minus my y, which is 9, is equal to my slope, x minus my x1, which is 6.
Yes, as far as I know.
Equation done. Then I'm going to show you it if I pick the other point,
Yes.
which was -3, -2. It's going to look like a different equation, but it is the same equation, and I'll show you why. So y minus, now my y this time is a -2, equals 11 over 9, x minus, and now my x is a negative, so I'm going to have to simplify it. See how the signs change? Because it's a negative, it changes the signs. So it'd be y, whoops, y plus 2 is equal to 11 over 9, x plus 3. And I have another equation of a line. They are the same equation because when you put it into y equals mx plus b form, they will be exactly identical. It just looks different. So if I ever have you give, well, I guess not me have, but if you ever have online a question of write this in point slope form, it'll accept this one or it'll accept this one. It has to take either or because they're both the right answer. Now, give me a second. Let me find this problem. I want to go back to for a second. Let me wait a second. I see some people still writing. Then I want to show you why this is handy. I don't know if you picked it up already or not. We did a problem just like this a few minutes ago with slope intercept form.
Okay, now, here, I have one question.
Okay, so let me go back for a minute. Let me see if I can find it. Nope. I think it's before that. Yes, remember this one here? This one with a 55 slope. Let me start. Remember this mess here where we had 55 over 7, we had to get common denominators and all that mess, and right? If I told you to write it in point slope form, watch this. Y minus, pick a point. I picked this one, I'll do the same thing. 4 is equal to, my slope was 11 over 7, x minus 5. Done. I don't have any of this messy work. It's done. I don't worry about common denominators. I don't have to worry about negatives and positives. I just write it and I'm done. Point slope form takes all that mess out of making it y equals ms plus b. Now, if I asked you to put it in y equal ms plus b now, you would have to distribute, and you're going to have the same messy work. But that's why they have point slope form for two things. It's a little bit neater when you have fractions. And number two, it tells you two different information. It gives you slope and it gives you the exact another point that's not the y-intercept. All right, let me go back.
So if I recall, on the last day of this month.
Okay, so that's point slope form. And the very last form we have to talk about, which I already told you earlier, was the definition was standard form.
That's what I'm just not understanding.
And I'm going to clarify it a little bit more. So standard form looks like this: ax plus by equals c. So the two x's are on the left and the constants on the right. This is going to be very, very important for what we're doing in 2 lessons from now. Everything's going to be in standard form. But a cannot be a negative number, and a, b, and c cannot be a fraction. That's a must for standard form. A cannot be a negative number and A, B, and C cannot be a fraction. If it is, you gotta fix it.
June 20th next year.
Look at what problem I want to do. Hold on. I got a whole bunch of them here. Boo, 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 boo. Okay. So let's start first about transforming to standard form. So what I want to do is I want to take and transform from point slope form. Wow, that's not how you spell point. Point slope form to standard form.
Yes.
And then we're going to do from slope intercept form to standard form. So what I mean by that is this. So we'll call it 1. Rewrite this equation in standard form. Hey, equation is going to be this: y minus 3 is equal to, I hit the wrong button on my little pinky. Okay, hold on. Ooh, there you go. Equals 1/3 x plus 4. So I have a point slope form. It wants me to rewrite it in standard form. So I need to get my number in x and my number in y on the left, and my constant has to be on the right. All right, so how do I do that? Well, first, we're going to do exactly what you think we're going to do probably. We're going to distribute the 1/3. Y minus 3 equals 1/3 times x, 1/3 x. 1/3 times 4 is 4/3. And then we're going to do a little bit of magic. Okay, so how do you get rid of fractions? I know I can't have any fractions. I got 2. I got 2 fractions. I know I got to combine like terms and move things around, but before I do that, I'm getting rid of my fractions. How do you get rid of fractions? Well, I could make all the denominators 3, but I'm not going to do that. There's a shortcut. You probably know it. And if not, I'm going to show you something new. You can multiply every single thing by the common denominator. So my common denominator would be 3. So I'm going to multiply every single thing by 3, every little part by 3. So multiply by common denominator. What happens is there'll be no fractions left. So 3 times y, 3y, 3 times -3, -9. And now 3 times 1/3. What's 3 times 1/3? Well, 3 times 1/3 is 1. So it's just x. Why is that? 3 times 1/3. Remember, 3 is over 1. If I multiply across and across, I get 3 over 3, which is just 1. So 1/3 of 3 is just 1, or just x. And then I'm going to multiply 3 times 4/3. So 3 times 4/3, 3 over 1 times 4/3, that would be 12 over 3, which is just 4. And all of a sudden, I don't have fractions. You can do this with any problem. If you have a lot of fractions, you don't want fractions, multiply everything by the common denominator. Now we just have to rearrange. We need to get the x on the left and our numbers on the right. So I'm going to subtract x on both sides. Notice I'm going to put it in the front, y, because x is first and y is second. I'm going to bring that negative x. 3 is positive, so plus 3y minus 9 is equal to 4. So I have my x and y, but there's a problem, isn't there? Isn't x negative? We're going to fix that at the end. So we're going to add 9, put all our constants on the right. We have negative x plus 3y is equal to 13. It's almost perfect, except, where's my little A cannot be a negative number right here. We got rid of fractions, but we can't do a negative number. So you can divide everything by -1, but the shortcut is change all the signs. If I divide by -1, I'm doing the same thing. So here's a shortcut, change every single sign. So x minus 3y is equal to -13. And I just took my equation that was in point slope form and I wrote it in standard form. Okay, let's try 2. Y minus 8 equals 2/3 x plus 6. Actually, I'm gonna make this a negative, make it -2/3. We didn't do a negative slope, we did a positive slope last one. Let's make it negative. All right, we need to get it into ax plus by is equal to c. So again, I need to get rid of parentheses. So distribute. So I get y minus 8 is equal to -2/3 x. Now, -2/3 times 6 is -12/3, which is -4. Again, I have a fraction. I can't have fractions at all. So I'm going to multiply all of it by the common denominator, which is 3. Y, I can get rid of any fraction I have. So 3 times y is 3y. 3 times -8, that's 24. Wow, 24, but it's -24. Okay, 3 times -2/3, that's going to be -6/3, which is -2x. And 3 times -4 is -12. So 1, got rid of my fractions. Now 2, I got to get it in the right form. So I need to move my x first. So plus 2x. I'm going to put it in the front because that's where it belongs, in the front. Bring it down. 2x is a positive 3y. Minus 24 is equal to -12. And then all I have to do is move 24 over by adding it. So I have 2x plus 3y is equal to positive 12. Standard form. Okay, I want to do one more when it's not point slope form, when it's just slope intercept form. I think I have room here. No, I need to go to page. Okay, it's another page. All right, 3. So now, same idea. We're going to write the equation in standard form. Hold on. Come on. There we go. Got stuck for a minute. All right, we're going to write the equation in standard form, but I'm going to give you given y equals -2/5 x plus 12. Slope intercept form, not point slope form. This is sort of I gave you the hardest one. This is easier because now I just got to move things around and fix it. But first thing is I cannot have a fraction, right? So y equals, I'm writing it down here so I have room. I'm going to have to multiply by the common denominator of 5. I got to get rid of my fraction. So 5 times y is 5y. Hey, 5 times -2 is -10 divided by 5, which is -2x. And 5 times 12 is 60. You're going to see how easy it is when it's slope intercept form. I just got rid of my fractions. Now all I have to do then is add 2x to the other side and I'm done. So I have 2x, 5 is positive, plus 5y is equal to 60. And I got my standard form. But there are the three different forms of linear equations: slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and standard form. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. We have one more thing to talk about, which we talked about a lot of it already, so that's good. We're just going to review parallel and perpendicular lines. We talked about the slope. That was on your test. The slope of parallel lines are identical, they're the same. And the slope of perpendicular lines are the opposite reciprocals. So now we're going to write about how to recognize it and when to know how to write the equation of parallel and perpendicular lines. So last section. Writing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. All right, first we gotta do basics, and these are confusing. I'll tell you right now. So write the equation of a horizontal line containing 4, 5. So why is it confusing? Because you don't know what the formula, what the equation is. No, there's no y equals mx plus b. It's just a horizontal line. So if you can remember, horizontal line has slope of 0. A vertical line has a slope of undefined. Horizontal line has a slope of 0. What kind of line has a horizontal line? What kind of line? Is it a y equals or is it an x equals? Well, it's a y equals. Y equals is horizontal, x equals vertical. Once you know that, look at the point. What's your y? 5. That's it. Y equals 5. Once you realize it's y equals or x equals, just look at your point and that's your line. Y equals 5. There is no slope. The slope is 0. Okay, same kind of thing, but a vertical line. Containing the point 3, -2. Now a vertical line has slope of undefined. Why? Let's go back to our functions. Here's a vertical line. If I do a vertical line test, I'll do it in purple, it fails. It's not a function. That's why the slope is undefined. But every undefined slope, oops, hold on, is an x equals. What's my x? 3. X is equal to 3. That's my equation. So for those particular kinds, you just have to keep in fact, horizontal means slope of 0, that's a y equals. A vertical means undefined, that's an x equals. Okay, awesome. Now let's go to what we knew, what we learned last time and write equations. So same kind of idea. I'm just gonna put number 3, but it's a little different. Okay, write the equation of a line containing -2, 4. That is parallel. That's not how you spell parallel. To the line x plus 3y is equal to 6. write it in slope intercept form, because now they're going to ask you to write these in all different forms. First hint, parallel, same slope. Second, they gave you the equation. I can find the slope. How do I find the slope? I have to get it in y equals mx plus b form, right? So x plus 3y is equal to 6. So I'm going to solve for y. Solve for y to get y equals mx plus b, because then we can find a slope. So I am going to subtract x on both sides. 3y is equal to negative x plus 6. But I have to divide every single thing by 3 to get y by itself. Y is equal to, now, I am not going to write negative x over 3. That's not a slope. My slope is going to be negative 1/3 x. Does everybody understand why my slope is negative 1/3 x? That's my slope. My slope is negative 1/3 with x plus 2. All I need was my slope. My slope is negative 1/3. Okay, so I found the slope. It has to contain the point negative 2, 4. It's parallel. So really, I have a slope of negative 1, 3, and it has to go through the point, which I just took it down too far, negative 2, 4. And it has to be in slope intercept form. Well, we just did that earlier today. When you're stuck with slope intercept form, you're going to put, okay, y equals mx plus b. What do I have? I have my slope, I have my x, and I have my y. I'm going to plug them all in. 4 is equal to negative 1/3 times negative 2 plus b. And we're going to do what we did before. We're going to find b and then write the equation. So 4 is equal to, okay, negative times a negative is a positive, and 1/3 times 2 over 1 is 2/3 plus b. I'm going to subtract 2/3 from both sides to find b. Okay, let me do it over here. So 4 minus 2/3, that's 4 over 1. My common denominator is 3. So this would be 12/3 minus 2/3, which is 10/3. So b is 10/3. Now I have everything I need. I have my slope, I have my b. Here's my equation. Y is equal to my slope, negative 1/3 x plus 10/3. But we also did it because it was parallel, same slope. So just to like overview it a little bit, we have to solve for y equals to get the slope. It's parallel, so it's the same slope. Then it has to go through the point, and then we write y equals ms plus b, solve for b, and then write the equation like we did earlier. I want to do one perpendicular if we can squeeze it in. Okay. Last one. What was that? 3? Okay, 4. 4. I'm going to shorthand it a little bit because we're running out of time. But okay, ready? It's going to go through the point 3, negative 5. It's going to be perpendicular to 3x plus 2y equals 7. And we're going to write it in point slope form. No, 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 no. That's not what I meant. Yeah. That's what I meant. Point slope form. All right, first, I got to find the slope of that line so I can find the perpendicular slope. So 3x plus 2y is equal to 7. I got to solve for y. Minus 3x, 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 7. Divide every single thing by 2 so I can get y by itself. So y is equal to negative 3 over 2x plus 7 halves. Okay, I got my slope, but it wants perpendicular slope. So if my slope is negative 3 halves, my perpendicular slope has to be opposite sign, positive, reciprocal, flip. Perpendicular slope is 2/3. So now I have my two things. I have my slope and I have my point, which was, I forget, 3, -5. It wants you to write it in point slope form. So here we go. Y minus -5 is equal to y minus y1 over m x minus x1. So y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. And then all I have to do is simplify this y side. Y plus 5 equals 2/3 x minus 3. And I have my equation in point slope form. And that's 3/5, it's a long little section, 3/5. All right, so it is 4:40, time to go. Your tests, I will work on them. When I'm all done grading them, I will send a class email that the grades are in, and then you can look at it and I'll open it up so that you guys can see what you got wrong, et cetera, et cetera. If that doesn't work, after sending an email to let me know, because sometimes the computer, I have to do it twice. I don't know why the program doesn't work that great like that, but once I close it and you can't see it, it sometimes it doesn't like to open back up, but I can get it back, open back up. Anybody having questions, stay on. I'm here. I know somebody wants me to make sure I got their work sent to me. So I'm gonna look on, I forget who it was you asked me that. So if that's you, stay on.
Okay, what?
Okay.
Yeah,
Let
it
me-
was me.
Okay, let me go look right now.
Miss Garrett, I also have a question.
Yeah.
So I accidentally clicked the wrong answer, but I did the work and I know what the answer was. Like on the test, I accidentally clicked B whenever I knew it was C on a question. And on the like work, whatever, I have C put down, but I accidentally clicked B. So is there anything I can do about that?
You have it right on your paper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I everything that's wrong, I'll go, I mean, I look at everything, but everything that's wrong, I especially look out. And if you have it right on your paper, I'll change it to right. So don't worry about
Thank
it.
you.
No problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, who wanted me? Let me make
Me.
sure I have,
That
Who's
was
me?
me that asked you about the email.
okay, I don't think I got yours. I'm looking right now. But you said you had problems with it, right?
Me too. Actually, Richardson did as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
who-
I tried to email it to you like twice and it wasn't sending. I don't know if maybe I have the wrong email or what.
You know what? Hold on. My boss, oh, yeah, I have it. Okay, Tangian? I probably said it wrong. I'm sorry. I
I
have
have-
yours. I have you sent it to my
Okay,
boss.
yes.
He
Oh,
just-
my bad.
He just sent it to me. He's like, I think
I
this is
was like-
yours.
I was like looking for, I went, and that's the first email that popped up. So I was like, okay. But,
Yeah,
I'm
that's my boss
sorry.
man. That's all right. I got it. He sent it back to me. So I have yours.
But I do have a
Michaela,
question, though.
I have yours. I actually have it
What about-
twice.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, yeah, it said it wasn't sending, so I sent it again because I
That's
didn't
all right.
know.
That's all right. I
I
got
sent
twice. You're
mine.
good. Ashley, I have yours.
Okay,
And
good.
Marcus, I think I got yours a little while ago. Hold on. Marcus.
I actually
Mhm.
ran out of time on the test.
I was gonna say,
I have
I
a
did
question about
too.
scheduling, not about the test.
And that was what I was gonna ask as well. What, I felt pressure